What's going on, everybody? Week 7 of the NFL is just wrapped up, and that means another edition of Matt's Undisputed Top 5, so let's get right into it. Starting at number 5, it was a lot of dispute on an undisputed list last week on the inclusion of this team, but they won again, so they're staying. It's the Cleveland Browns. They edged out a victory over the Indianapolis Colts 39-38 with a Kareem Hunt walk-off. This game went just about the opposite direction, though, of what I expected. The Browns defense gave up 455 yards after holding an average of 200 per game. Coming in, they had only allowed 52 first downs. The next closest team was the Dallas Cowboys at 81. They let up 20, increasing their season total by 50%. Not great, okay? Versus the Colts, they went 7 of 15 on third down. This is the Colts offense. It's just shy of 50%. Before that, they were only allowing 23.1% on third down. Something was off. They didn't fix it. I'm hoping to see a better performance next week. But there's a bad man on that defense by the name of Myles Garrett, my current Defensive Player of the Year leader. TJ Watt's close, don't get me wrong, and if he won it, I wouldn't be mad or surprised. But Garrett changed the game. That's not something you typically see happen from a non-quarterback, especially on defense. He had 2 stripped sacks, 1 going for a touchdown. He went Palomalu over the Indianapolis Colts special teams line and blocked a field goal. Left and right, he was making plays. They were giving up yards, but he mitigated the bleeding. And that's what great players do. The big question is Deshaun Watson. Always has been. We knew the defense was going to be good this year. I don't think anybody quite expected them to be playing at the level they are. But they're going to go as far as Deshaun takes them. If they don't win a Super Bowl this year, it's not because of anybody but Deshaun. The Browns are staring down the barrel of what could be one of the worst contracts in NFL history. Personally, as a fan, I have hope he's going to pull it out. The numbers haven't shown that to us. Next week will be telling. So, team number 4, we're going to be staying in the AFC North. A Matt's Undisputed Top 5 debut, the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar for MVP? I've been hearing the shouts, not quite yet. He is making a significant impact. He boasts an impressive completion percentage of 71% and a near league low 3 interceptions. But he does fall behind league leaders in your traditional passing stats. He has 1,610 passing yards, which is about 400 shy of Tua, the league leader. He has 8 touchdown passes, which again is about half to Tua Tagovailoa again. But as we know with Lamar, he doesn't just do it with his arm, he does it on the ground. Lamar is good for the 18th best rusher in the league at 363 yards. He has 5 rushing touchdowns, but he has put the ball on the ground 4 times. Important to get that tidied up. That being said, I think he's making a significant impact with a talent level around him that is insulting to the caliber of player that he is. The Baltimore Ravens defense has been fantastic. They always seem to be in the conversation of the best in the league. They were like a swarm of piranhas last week against the Detroit Lions. 5 total sacks, 8 quarterback hits, and it's not just coming from one place. 8 different defenders were credited with multiple quarterback pressures. And with that, the Baltimore Ravens make their debut at 4. Number 3, this one hurt. The former Golden Boys known as the San Francisco 49ers. They have fallen off of Mount Olympus. What in the world is going on in San Francisco? A team that we all thought were miles ahead of everyone else. Could go undefeated. Super Bowl favorites. They've dropped 2 straight games. Everyone is looking around and asking that daring question. Could they be frauds? No, they're not frauds. But they've shown they're beatable. And once you do that, the road to the Lombardi is that much harder. All it takes is one game in January to end your season. And now they've shown there's a formula to do that. These have been a big 2 weeks for Brock Purdy haters and doubters. He's a system quarterback. He was Mr. Irrelevant for a reason. He has so many weapons. Anybody could succeed in that offense. Enough. All right? No player in this league has a perfect career. And that's, unfortunately, in a way, for Brock, how things have gone up until this point. He never faced adversity in the regular season before. Last year was a cakewalk. And up until week 6 this year, it was the same. Every player in the league sooner or later gets punched in the mouth, and sometimes it lasts more than a week. Sometimes it's like Peyton, his rookie year, and it lasts a season. Now, I'm not saying this kid's Peyton. I think we all know that, all right? He's not Brady. He's Alex Smith. And you can win a Super Bowl with that. At full strength, I still believe this team is virtually unbeatable. Number 2. I might puke saying this phrase, but damn it, they've earned it. Fly, Eagles, fly. Say what you want about Philly, but they're getting it done week in and week out. It's not always pretty. Jalen has even said that much, but they don't seem to care. You see, if there's one thing Philly does, it's that they adapt. They moved off Carson Wentz, who led them to a Super Bowl. They moved off of Nick Foles, who won them a Super Bowl. They moved off of Chip Kelly, who had back-to-back 10-win seasons, and yet they're still here. They have their new identity, and it works. The pass rush... Oh, I'm sorry. The tush push. We keep hearing how it isn't fair. Well, have you looked at the rest of the league and seen how they've done trying to copy the tush push? They can't do it. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I was the same way. I wanted to play band. I thought, oh, it's unfair. It's unstoppable. But hey, really? What is it? It's Philly having 2 unique athletes, Jason and Jalen, and utilizing their strengths to make a play that other people can't stop, and that's just sports, guys. I can't knock them for it. I thought before the season this was the most talented roster in the NFL, and they're showing that to be true. The defensive line is menacing. How on earth the rest of the NFL let them get Jalen Carter in the draft is still beyond me. Now they've gone out and traded for all-star safety Connor Byard from Tennessee. I don't know what kind of dirt they have on Tennessee to keep getting these incredible players for a bag of potato chips, but hell, if the well wasn't dry, if the well still had, what, the well? If the well isn't dry, I'd keep going back too. That brings us to number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. 6-1 and with more media attention than ever, things are good in Kansas City. Mahomes is having another great year already, eclipsing 2,000 yards and 15 touchdowns. Interceptions are a little high for my liking, but that's what happens when you have a playmaker. If there's one player in the league we shouldn't worry is going to figure it out, it's him. So it doesn't bother me that much. Kelsey continues to dominate and cement himself as a strong contender for the greatest tight end of all time. And when Taylor is there, he seems to play lights out. He has double the yards, and I think there's something to that. There are a lot of questions at wide receiver right now for Kansas City. They went back out and got McCole Hardman. That's been a great help. Justin Ross, as we know, he's had some issues. Got on the field, made a significant impact. Unfortunately, within the last 48 hours, he has a felony destruction charge. I don't expect him to be with the team for long. I think a play at the deadline for wide receiver is very much in the cards for Kansas City. The biggest surprise of the year for Kansas City has got to be their defense. Since week 2, they've only allowed 14 points per game. They sacked Herbert 5 times last week and had 8 QB pressures. Notably, that was without their defensive leader, Chris Jones, recording a sack. They're spreading the love and add in 2 picks against Justin Herbert, holding him to a QBR of under 64. That gets Kansas City the number 1 spot for me. That's going to wrap up Matt's Undisputed Top 5 for Week 7. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next week.